Yeah, the American elections are out. Trump has made history as the second person to have been voted out as president, then contested a subsequent election and won. Can't recall the name of the other one. He broke record. Muhana Mwisuha, Khamala Harris, of course, did succeed. And being her great supporter, of course, I am disappointed. I cannot use the word I was disappointed. I am disappointed at the time of recording this. I am disappointed because, like any other competition, the person or the side that you support, if you lose, you don't become happy. I have had some people challenging me, saying, you are shouting all the time, celebrating that she will win, and you said everything. Of course, there is a professor who had his 13 keys, and he said he had never failed. He had, of the 9 elections, he had predicted, of the 10 elections, he had predicted 9 correctly, and only predicted wrongly once. Coincidentally, the time when he predicted wrongly was when Trump was elected. He had predicted that Hillary Clinton would win and Trump would lose. So when Trump was elected, he said, and he has been saying, that he meant popular votes. Well, of course, in that election, Hillary Clinton won the popular votes, but lost the delegates' vote. I don't know what the professor would say at this time, because Muhana Mwisoha, Khamala Harris lost both in delegates and in popular votes. But I have to tell people, when a person or team or cause that you are supporting loses, the last thing anybody from the other side should do is to come and laugh at you. Say, you see, you are saying Muhana Mwisoha, you are saying this, you are saying Muhana Mwisoha. A few people have inboxed me that. But I have to say this: democracy is not just that the winner wins and celebrates, but even democracy is the ability, when you have lost, to concede, just like Mohana Mwisoha has done. She conceded and gave a very good speech. The question is, when Donald Trump lost, did he concede? He even did encourage the people to commit treason. And even up to today, he has never accepted that he lost. And I can tell you that if he would have lost this time, then he would not have conceded. So losing and accepting graciously, that is winning. Of course, I was telling people that they can take my word to the bank, and I said they should take it to the World Bank. Only that I didn't know that it was to be taken to the river bank. Now the bank that later I meant the World Bank, but then fate made it to be the river bank. But let us look at the two candidates. Let us start with Mukhana Mwisukha Khamala. Can you remember her 10 years from, this is 2024. Do you remember her in 2014? Remember, she was contesting against somebody who was known by everybody in the world. Remember, we had even seen him, he almost took over the wrestling corporation. Remember, he is a very big, rich man with so many big houses here and there. Remember, he had his own show, You Are Fired, and something like that, and whatever. But this lady just came from nowhere. She came from a broken home. And she, through mere hard work, she rose from nobody up to where she is. And again, the jury is out. Let me ask you a question. I hope this video does not reach committee. Whom would you choose? Can you choose our lady, the lady, the AG? She wanted to be the director of prosecution, but she did. But she ended up being the AG. Dorcas. Now, do you choose these committee people? Because very few people in the committee have been convicted, have 34 convictions. This is a criminal. He has been convicted over felony. Do you know what a felony is? Uh, you know, when we were being taught law by Mr. Nyaseda, yes, Mr. Nyaseda was my law instructor in Kiganjo. When Mr. Nyaseda was teaching us law, he taught us that there are two types of offenses: felony and misdemeanor. Without going into deep definition of that, because the King's English and the law English are two different things. Now, the law English says a felony is a serious offense. Misdemeanor is a minor offense. It's like you're walking around taking a snack. After eating what you are eating, you throw away the piece. Then Kanjo arrest you for littering the streets. That is a misdemeanor. But a felony, that one you don't even end up in minimum or medium. You go to maximum prison. Here is a prosecutor who was a prosecutor at the county level, who was a prosecutor at the state level. She has risen up through her sheer. And again, you see, she is what she herself made herself. For Trump to start his business, we have to thank him, because we know of so many people who were given money, but misused it. I can tell you of Captain Muigai, Muigai, the brother to Beth Mugo. He said when he was a captain, when he was a cadet officer, him and Kaisere were each given 1,000 shillings by Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. He used the 1,000 shillings to go and drink and make merry. But Kaisere started a butchery which outlived him. So yes, Donald Trump, when he came of age, his father gave him $2 million. He used those $2 million to start his businesses, which are thriving even to this time. But for Harris, She started with her own sweat and her own brain. She chose up. She grew up through sheer hardship. It is through sheer hard work. It is too early. She's not a Kenyan. Oh, she's Muhana Mwisoka. But anyway, she's not a Kenyan because in Kenyan politics, you lose on 5th November, and on 6th November, early in the morning, you have started campaigning for the next election. It is too early for her to start campaigning, but the doors are not closed to her. She can still come back next time. Even if she doesn't come, the world is a stage, just like Julius Caesar said. Every actor has his or her part, and she has played her part. You remember, I do, I had said in one of those people who are telling me, oh, the person you supported, whatever. If you look at my old videos, I said that whoever takes Pennsylvania will take the presidency. I said that. Trump has taken Pennsylvania. And how was Pennsylvania? I never even pronounce the place. How was it taken? This man called Musk, the owner of Twitter, nowadays it's called X. He started a project where he was encouraging people. You see, the way the Americans vote is different from the way Kenyans vote. Their history, and I'm always believing that our democracy is second only to India. Americans have got a lot to learn about the the Kenyan democracy. We are more freer than the US. Why am I saying so? In the US Constitution, it allows political parties to canvass for people to register. For example, we want to elect an MCA in our ward. We want to elect an MCA in our ward. What do? Each political party is given a register. Imagine in Kenya, those who register people into Nini are the IEBC alone. But in the US, first of all, the US, they don't have an IEBC. You can always check on my past videos where I've explained the US Constitution. But in every state, there is somebody called Secretary of State. Secretary of State. He hires people to conduct the elections for him. So outside the list of the Secretary of States, political parties in the US are allowed. Political parties in the US are allowed also to assist the Secretary of State by getting the voters register and registering voters there. So you find that in your ward, a political party can, let's say Federal Party of Kenya, can come, can go to IEBC or the Secretary of State for that matter, request for forms to recruit electors or voters. When they are given those forms, what they do is that they go to their offices and start canvassing for people to register those who have not registered. And history has proven that over 90% of those people who register through the parties rarely vote against the political parties that they registered through. So the Republicans, the party that belongs to Donald Trump, knew, or they watched my YouTube video and knew that if they lose Pennsylvania, then they will not win it. Musk went there. Musk went there and he started a lottery. Anybody registering in Pennsylvania as a voter through the office of the Republican Party would enter into what do you call into a lottery. When he enters through the lottery, every day he had said every day from the day he started up to the election eve, the lottery would choose one new person, and that person would be given $1 million. What is $1 million? Imagine going to which constituency? Going to Kasarani constituency to register through ODM, knowing very well that one of the people who are registering in that constituency or in that state, actually Pennsylvania is a state, you stand a chance of getting 120 million Kenya shillings. That is what he did, and I can tell you, hey, Maraga, anyway, wacha nisiseme hiyo because Maraga would not like to have listened to such a case. You know what Maraga would have said? Americans, the democracy is this, and that is what we people in the NIS are trained to do. You advise somebody, you tell somebody this and this and this, and the person does exactly the opposite. You don't even complain. In fact, you are grateful that you are given time to talk to that person, because some people cannot even listen to you. So if these people chose to employ somebody who talked unprintables and a person who anybody who did not agree with him, that is up to them. Actually, he has revolutionized the Republican Party to the extent that it is his personal party. It is just like ODM to Raila. So I don't know when he completes the 4 years what Republican Party would be, because he has demolished all the suspected whatever. And then he's also lucky. I can say he's also lucky because as a former student of GSU, I can tell you, for someone to shoot and get your ear, that is not 1 in 1,000. No, that is not one in a million chances. That is 1 in 1 billion chances. Who knows? Maybe that one also contributed to his winning. For the few people who have been castigating me, oh, you are Muhana Mwisoka, you are Muhana Mwisoka, should know that I have 1,100 videos uploads. And out of the 1,100 videos, only 25 have been wrong. And of the 25, 10 of them are about Muhana Mwisoka, 15. So I can even say it's 16. I want to remind myself that one of the times when I was wrong is when I predicted that Badi would be the chief of the defense forces, only for Francis Ogola to be the chief of defense forces. Some people had even insisted to me, saying that Ogola would be the chief of, and I said that there's no way Ogola can make it and Badi would do it, but Ogola. So I make mistakes. I'm a human being. But then when people come out strongly, emotionally, it makes me happy. You know, when somebody tells you, you said Badi would be the chief of defense force, and Ogola has it. You said Khamala would be. It gives me a lot of meaning because it means that people have realized that my observation carries weight. Because if all my prediction were useless or wrong, I don't think people would have come to me that way. I am very concerned about places. Me, I hold the Ukraine war at heart, and he is close to Putin. He is close to Putin, and he has always been saying that he will not use the American finances and whatever to fight foreign wars. So things such as Ukraine war, we are going to lose a lot. We are going to lose a lot because he's a pro-Putin person. Another thing that disappointed us, you see, and I think our party, the Democratic Party, should sit down and think. You know, previously there were some groups that we used to take for granted. It used to take for granted that blacks, the Latinos, the Hispaniolas, and so on, we used to believe that they automatically in the Democratic Party. But this particular election has shown that a lot of them have shifted to the Republican Party. So we have to now, in future, not rely on, in future, we should not rely on those constituencies. We should now come up with ideology. And what happens? They steal from you, you steal from them. Now, I'm not meaning of this actual stealing that people steal or whatever. I am meaning the stealing that the Republican has taken people whom we used to take for granted to be ours. We never imagined that blacks would be in the Republican Party. They have been taken. So we should come up with a new idea of either grabbing white people. You see, every TV stations was talking of white college educated people. Sijui nini nini. We should stop now relying on such things at educated people, with people with no college education, such and such. We should come up with an ideology that would come and bring people. Remember, 2020, those people who voted early, the people who voted early through mails, are people who, those who voted early, are people who voted for democracy, from Democratic Party. But this time, you find that those who voted early, 60% of them voted for the Republican. The other time, people who voted early were 70% were Democrat. So I think our party should sit down and say and try to gain people in the next election. And in America, elections take 2 years. Why am I saying so? Look at the reason why early voters voted for Democratic Party in 2020. In 2020, one of the reasons is that Donald Trump spent a lot of time. People were encouraging people to vote early in the 2020 because of the corona. But Donald Trump that time, in the election of 2020, he discouraged the Republican. He discouraged the Republican from early voting. So the idea that thinking that the Democratic Party wins wins the early voting, uh, that was not. It is because the Republicans kept off. So they should sit down and really think first about it, because in 2 years' time, and as technology goes on, in the future, especially in America, because in countries like Kenya, early voting is not allowed. In the future, uh, more and more people, you'd even get a place where in the US election, it will reach a stage where early voting would even start, would even contribute up to 90% of all the voters. Another problem that I would wish Kipchirchir William Samoei Arap Ruto to take note is that the Biden Harris government, of which Harry, even if Harris would not have contested, any person who would have contested on a Democratic Party ticket would have suffered, is the question of taxation, high taxation. It really costed the Democratic Party as a whole and Kamala Harris individually. So I think ujumbe umfikie Ruto. Another thing that played a big role in this particular election is the question of immigration. Immigration. It has been proven that for the last 4 years, the number of illegal immigrants into the USA was so high as compared more than any other period of 10 years. Imagine 4 years, more people have. So the thing of illegal immigration really affected that. And let me tell you, talking as an African, white Americans don't hate illegal immigrants. No. Okay, they hate, but people who hate illegal immigrants most, as I said, it's not the white Americans. It is these people who are called the minorities. We have African Americans who 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 know just by the color of their skin, they know that their ancestors came from Africa, but they cannot trace their ancestry to any particular country in Africa. These people do hate black immigrants because in the US there is this policy where certain favors are given to the minorities. Now, when you go there, whether you are an illegal immigrant or a legal immigrant, and you are as black as me, or even as blacker as a South Sudanese, you are considered to be a black Afro-American, and any favors that are done, what we call affirmative action that is done to minorities, including Afro-Americans, you are piled up with those Americans who are descendants of slave trade. So these people, when you go to the US, you think that they'll welcome you as a black brother or black sister. No, they are not happy because the facilities, you find that some universities or colleges, entry minimum entry is set at a certain level, and when it is set at a certain level, lower level than the white Americans, when you go there as an African from Africa, you are placed in that group, and some of these privileges you grab from them. That is why you'll find that an African migrating to America will be shocked to find that black Americans are the ones who are against you. And since a lot of illegal immigrants happened during Biden Khamala time, it can be said that it also contributed a lot to black people. Remember, I said a lot of our constituents moved away. People we used to take for granted, like blacks. Now you understand that black Americans moved away from Democratic Party because they felt that Democratic Party during their time, they are the ones who allowed, or not necessarily allowed, but it is during their time that a lot of illegal immigrants entered the USA. But anyway, that is life, that is politics. Somebody said usiweke kwa roho, usiweke kwa roho, weka kwa kifua. Ukikohoa inatoka. Thank you for watching my videos.